guys, so I'm into the crowning process now of these threads, and before I went in and crowned them, I just, I talked about creating some fall away, and I showed you how to do that. And I just went back and did it 2 times and just put an extra piece of masking tape to take a little bit more off. But it all came, it all sanded in nicely, and the marker was quickly removed, so basically no problems there at all. I have crowned all the threads except for 5 threads that I have remaining here. And if I take you in here, I have these threads remaining that needs to be crowned. And I thought that I would just show this to you on 1 thread or 2 to show you. I have a crowning file here, which is, this type of concave file that will fit on top of the thread and then re-round it. And I have, I have remarked the thread tops, and that's just going to allow me to watch my, progress as I go. But I'll take the file and I will seat it on top of the thread. And one thing to notice here, I have taped off and protected the finish here, because you could take the neck off and work with it off of the guitar body, but I like to do it on the guitar. So I mask off and put a piece of tape or paper here to protect from, slipping with the file or damaging the finish. So just to keep that in mind. Okay, but I have this thread up here that we're going to take a look at. And let me just get this camera down to there, so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'll start and I'll place the file and just gently start rounding the thread. And I'll stop and watch my progress, and I'll just check with a shadow over the thread to see if I've missed anything. And some of the marker is still there, so I just have to continue. And I can see that I'm slowly starting to remove the line. And we basically want a tiny thin line running across the thread in order to give us, the side that we're after. And right there, I'm actually on the line. Let me take you guys around here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can find a good example here. I believe that if I zoom in on one of the threads here, you should be able to see that. If I take some of the lighting out, that right here I have a thin line running all across the thread. That's basically what we're looking for. In order to, that'll be the place where the string will ramp off of, and basically just, a tiny thin line is what we want to see. Okay, so I have a couple of threads still need to recrown, but let me do that off camera because it's going to take a little while. And once I finish recrowning, we are going to polish up the threads, make them nice and shiny again, and then we can take our guitar and string it up again and see if we have the same issues as before, but hopefully we should not. Okay guys, I'll be back. Right guys, so the frets are now leveled and they're recrowned, and what remains now is to polish up the frets using different grits of sandpaper. And I want to start out by using 400 grit. I will basically, wrap it around my finger here and just slide it up and down the fretboard. And from 400 I will move up to 600. I will then move to 800, then to 1000, and then to 1200. And I will basically stop at 1200. And from there I will basically determine if I need to go through a set of micromesh papers, ranging from 1500 and all the way up to 12,000. Or if I just stop at 1200 and use a metal polishing compound to remove the rest of the scratches. But you can just, you can see what I'm doing here with the 400 and use that on your own guitars. And I will basically continue like that. Just remember, you don't want to go crazy with going up and down, because we're still using sandpaper that can take a bit of material off. So just watch your progress and check for removing scratches, and then move up to the next grit from there. I'll just do that off camera because it's the same drill and what I'm doing now. So let me do that, guys. And when I've sanded the frets up to 1200, I'll take a look at them and bring you guys in, and we can determine whether or not we need to go through micromesh papers or just use polishing compound from there. So we'll do that, guys. Right, guys. So the frets have now been polished up to 1200 grit, and this is basically what they look like. From being polished with the or polished up to 1200. But yeah, they look really good. And from here you can always decide whether or not you want to go up from 1200 up to micromesh papers ranging from 1500 up to 12,000. But the frets feel kind of smooth, no problem there. I might just now skip the micromesh and go straight to the polishing compound to buff up these frets, and I might just do that. But let me get the tube out so you can see what I'm using and how I apply it and buff it out. So let me do that, guys. Alright, guys. So I've just applied some of the polishing compound here. And I just use a regular, fine cloth here to just wrap around my finger and then just rub it out like so here. And it's just going to, buff the thread up nicely. And I just make sure to get on the sides as well. And afterwards I will take a clean side of this cloth or another clean cloth rag and basically just, buff the threads out, because they will still have residue from the polishing compound here. But I'll just go in and buff it out as best as I can, and we'll see the you know, when we get it all polished out. Alright, so we get a little bit of, you know, dirt from the frets. I'll just take a clean side of the cloth here and basically just go over the frets and make sure that I just, you know, buff and polish them all out in order to get the best of them. Sorry for the shaky cam, but gotta put some elbow grease into this. Okay, so if I take you in here, you guys should be able to see how much they're actually shining. Yeah, you can kind of see reflections in them as I go back and forth with my finger there. So they are polished up and they're shining very, very well. And they're going to be smooth to play on and especially to slide and bend on as well. So that's another benefit of doing a fret level and recrown and polish, and it's, you know, the time is worth the wait. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'll buff out the rest of the frets now, and I will install the strings, stretch them, tune them to pitch, and we can take it from there, guys.